Okay, welcome back, student. This is yet another lesson, and this marks our 17th lesson. This is Form 1 lesson, Eastern Government. We are going to talk about the Highland Nilotes, and Highland Nilotes are speakers. And we have talked about much. About the Nilotes, and let's look at this group of Nilotes and how they came to be, the reason behind it. I know that right now you are yet informed, you are much informed about what you are about to be knowing or talking about as far as this is concerned. But then, let's look at the lesson objectives. At the end of this lesson, or single lesson, what are the students expected to obtain, what to grasp from this? So at the end of the lesson, the learner should be able to, one, give the factors contributing to what? Factors that are contributed to the Nandi and the Kipsigis splitting during the mid-18th century. These people were, all of them were from the Kalenjin community. But then, there are some times where these people split it up. We are going to look at those reasons that made this one group to split themselves into different places during that mid-18th century. Then after that, identify the results of the Highland Nilotes. We are going to look at the results of their migration as always, we always look at them. Then explain the results of the interactions between the various Kenyan communities as a whole. And that will mark the end of this topic. So the next topic, if God's allow us maybe to presume, then, or continue, then we'll be able now to talk about these societies, or Kenyan societies, talking about them socially, or how they were developed, or how they were grouped, how they were organized socially, how they were organized economically, and how they were organized politically. That's the next topic. And all of them will be talking about. Not all of them, but there are some selected groups in each and every, selected communities in each and every group. So that's what we'll be talking about in the next topic. But then, let's proceed with what we're supposed to be doing right now. First, let's understand how Nandi came to be. You know that it's one of the examples of the Highland Nilotes. So they were pushed out of the Mount Elgon region between 1700 to 1800 by the incoming Maasai. So Maasai once coming to Kenya, Maasai were the plain Nilotes. When they came there around the Mount Elgon is just north within the border between Kenya and Uganda. They were displaced by the Maasai and they found themselves where they were. So the decline of the Maasai in the 19th century made the rise to become a formidable group that conducted raids against their neighbors like the Mboya and the Luo. Raiding is just going to certain communities and grasping or taking the cattle that belongs to a certain community after fighting them. That was the raiding. It was an activity that was done normally during the what? During this period of 18th century, 17th century, and 19th century among these communities before the colonialism, before the European coming and colonizing our country. So when Maasai were the strongest, they used to do that. But then after that, they lost that, and therefore the Mboya and the neighbors and the Luo became their power only declined due to the colonization. Right? Now the whites came and colonized Kenya. That's where now these communities were powerless. That's all about the Nandi. Then Kipsigis is another example of Island Nilote. By the way, Island Nilote, we have Kipsigis, Kipsigis. We have Nandi. Nandi Kipsigis, Marapet, Keio. We have Marapet, Keio. It's about you also have Nandi to Kenya. You're going to get all of them along the way. Otherwise, these are just some of the examples that we have around. There are very many. It's only that for now I can remember about those. But then we talked about them previously, and I gave you in the notes. You will check them out. I type these notes, all of them, in the Google Classroom. Then Kipsigis, they are believed to have separated together with the what? The Nandi from the what? The other Kalenjin groups at the Mount Elgon region at around 16 AD. So there was another belief which is also different in terms of the time. Then they moved southeast to Teo and also near Lake Baringo, where they had Rift Valley. And due to the Maasai attacks, they moved westward to the Tambat, where they stayed for a long period. So they later moved southwards to Ongai near Nakuru. All of this will not be asked in exam. It's just helping you to understand how these people struggled before they moved to where they were. Understand? So they only separated from the Nandi due to the drought and also the Maasai raids on the Nandi. Maasai were raiding the Nandi. They were going and fighting Nandi to get their cattle. And also the Kipsigis moved further south to Kericho, while the Nandi moved to Aldahi during the second half of the 18th century. Then the Kipsigis settled at the Kipsigis Hill, forming a strong community that assimilated the legendary Sirikwa. Sirikwa was one of the communities in Kenya before the groups coming there. So some Maasai and Abagusi groups. So they were what? They were for a long time allies of the Nandi. So other communities were supporting Nandi against the Kipsigis. But then, this now is very important. You can be asked this one in the exam. What are the factors that contributing or factors that had contributed to the Nandi and the Kipsigis or splitting during the what? The mid-18th century. You can see on the screen, we have 3 points there. So the Maasai attacks on the communities, forcing each group to what? Each group to find its own means of defense. And long time, or before the coming, or during the coming of the whites, that tactic was known as divide and rule, whereby one person instigates 2 communities to fight. Then that person gets in, after instigating other 2 communities to fight, he gets in a forms that he wants to separate them, but with the intention of trying also to acquire their resources, also trying to get their own position or their provisions in the same land that these people are fighting towards. So that was one of the reasons. So Maasai was strong by then, before Nandi rising, and they used to raid. So when the Maasai attacks on the 2 communities, so each and every community is separated, defend themselves by their own means. That brought a separation between the Nandi and the Kipsigis. In the next drought, which caused scattering in search of food and pasture. Because of food and pasture also made these people to separate where they were. So they had to move, scattering from different places. And remember, at first they were staying next to the lake in Mount Elgon, where they were next to Uganda. Then the next factor is that the constant conflict over the limited resources in the region, leading to what? Warfare and what? Final splits. So because of the war, the constant conflicts are just simply war, violence among different people. So all of these conflicts, all over the limited resources, the resources are such as water, pasture, which are not enough for all of them. So because of these people were scrambling. Scrambling means that they were really trying to fight towards the limited, something which was small. If it was water, it was food. In that area, it was small, it was scarce. So being that it was not enough, it made them fight over that. And therefore, because of that, they found themselves splitting. They had a final split out of that fight, because each and every community could not condone each other. And those are the reasons why these communities split. These communities that belongs to the Highland Islands. Then after that, let's look at the results. What are the results? The results of Highland Nilotes migration in Kenya. And these things I know that where you can be thinking about the results. I gave you some of the results that can be applied to all of these communities. And it's very simple as a student, very, very simple for you to grasp that, for you to put those on your fingertips. So the first results or the impacts or the results, effects. These things mean the same. Sometimes they can ask, or they can come up with a negative, sometimes negative. It could be negative effects, negative impacts, negative result, or negative result, impacts, or effects. So they are just the same thing. Also consequences also basically the negative always weighs the larger part of it. Consequences can also come as a result. What are the consequences of maybe consequences of Nadi or highland lilac migrating to Kenya? What are the consequences? You can give them in form of results. Understand? Then the first result is an increase in intercommunity conflict in the region. They were fighting. Now they were fighting. You can see they split themselves up. Split means they separated. They isolated themselves from different other communities. They separated because of conflict. So as a result of them coming to the country Kenya, there was conflict with other communities, not only Kipsigis, but even the countries or the communities that they found around the place where they were staying. Like Luya, we are having the Luya. There were numerous fights within these communities. So that's the result. Otherwise, let's make this statement be the last part of this video. Let's tune into the next